Learning to find fish at home is brought to you by ShopMissouriSecrets.com.
So now that you have all of your ice fishing gear and equipment ready to go, where should you go and how do you find the fish even before you leave your house? Here, we're going to take a look at the resources that we use that can help you locate and understand your next fishing spot. It doesn't matter if you're on the road or at home, these resources are available on your phones and computers, so let's get into it. Most state natural resource agencies have online services that cover many things like fishable lakes, stocking reports, testing data, any special restrictions, and most importantly, fishery status. So let's check out a few North Dakota lakes and what their fishery status is. So let's start with Coal Lake. Now we fished here a few years ago and did okay with some smaller sized walleyes, but in the 2018-19 winter it's severely winter killed. But in 2019 and 2020 they stocked some fingerling walleyes. Now there's some 13 to 15 inch walleyes growing. Next we're going to check out Horsehead Lake, which doesn't have a boat ramp. It says there's good numbers of northern pike and walleye, and that'll be a good place to take kids because you can catch a lot of pike pretty easily. Now we're going to check out Woodhouse Lake. Holy cow, walleyes up to 28 inches abundant, fair number of small perch. Access may currently be difficult to Woodhouse Lake due to flooded roads. Now that's one worth putting on the list. Now, if you're like me, you like searching for lakes that have undiscovered potential. And a good example of this is when I was growing up, there's a lake that we ice fished that had a ton of boat and water ski traffic during the summertime. But every single time we went there on the ice, with nobody in sight, we hammered the big perch and fun catchable sized pike every single time we were there. So even though it might look really beat up, or it seems that nobody fishes there, it's still worth doing the research on. So let's check out some stocking reports. One that's really close to home is East Arota Dam. Now I've heard that there's a lot of pike and yellow perch in there, but there's got to be something else in there. Yep, the first thing that comes up is white crappie and black crappie. Scrolling through, there's also rainbow trout and bluegill. So I definitely want to bring a lot of small jigs and stock up on spikes and waxworms. Another lake we want to try out this winter is Sweetbriar Lake. Now we've heard there's pretty good multi-species fishing in there, and going through here, there's a lot of walleyes here. So along with the walleyes, there's a lot of largemouth bass with some yellow perch. So I'm definitely going to want to bring some big jigs and big minnows, and that should do the trick. The next thing to look at is what the test netting data shows. Now, don't get caught up in quality or quantity, but what's actually in this particular place. Because if there's big fish, you know there's going to be more. And if there's a lot of fish, there's going to be a lot more. So let's check some out. Lake Brecken here in McLean County. So with their nets, they caught roughly 14 walleye per net and very minimal yellow perch and carp. But the interesting number is the length range for walleye is 7 inches all the way up to 22 inches. So that's definitely worth going on the list. In recent years, biologists have been doing electrosurveying, and this tends to be a little more representative of what's actually in a lake. So let's take a look at an electric survey. Let's check out Sweetbriar Lake. Now there's a lot of different species on this survey here. Black bullhead, they caught 26 per hour. Common carp, 17. Now the bluegills and walleyes, they caught 15 and 11 per hour. So it doesn't seem like the fish we're targeting are high up on the survey. So Sweetbriar will go on the lower side of the go-to list. So now that you know what fish are in the lake, it's time to check out the next resource, and that's the Navionics mapping system. It is free to use online and requires internet, but for just $15 a year, you can download all US lakes to your mobile devices with the added benefit of not even needing cell service for it to work. So let's check out some of our favorite lakes and see what's hiding under the ice. When we're using Navionics, the first thing we look at is what the lake structure is. Lakes with more structure provide plenty of areas that will concentrate fish that are easier to target. Whereas a lake that is lacking any obvious structure is a place you need to be prepared to drill a lot of holes and search for that little difference, like a short weed line, small rock pile, or tree stump. Now, in addition to using the Navionics maps, we also look at satellite imagery, and that'll help us find any obvious structure like a big weed line, trees sticking out of the water, or a rocky point. If you've never used these resources before, it can be a bit overwhelming. But what's important to understand is that there's no right or wrong way to use them. And when you take the time to study them and use them wisely on the water, you'll find that you catch more and bigger fish.